but yeah, I'm enjoying it if you wanted to know.
It
Like
did.
it.
We did.
Because this is all about me.
It
Yeah.
is.
No.
Yes.
It's
This
the
is
Chanel reaction podcast.
it
Yeah,
is.
right. Right. And my reaction is, which I'd already told you, is that I hate all the women in the show, basically.
Chanel,
Yeah, isn't it fascinating?
It's true. I don't
no.
like any of them.
You don't like
We're good.
Claudia?
No, hate that
We're gonna
bitch.
we're gonna start this whole episode, which Stacey, you should like probably like announce what we're doing before I hate
yes.
on Chanel about
Okay.
hating on the women real fast.
Okay.
Yeah.
Before I go on a tangent.
I know, right?
Hey nerds, welcome to our second episode where we deep dive episodes 3 and 4 of Interview with the Vampire with Julie Soto. Basically to get Chanel's hot takes on her first time watching the show.
Yeah.
Whether they be right or wrong, we love her
Yes.
regardless.
Mhm.
And they're
That is
wrong.
true. That is true.
Just kidding. We
Just
support her
kidding.
rights and wrongs in this
Yeah.
show.
No. Well, like I said last time, I watch far too many reaction videos of complete
Mhm.
strangers on the internet watching this show. And like, no matter if they're right or wrong in season 1, by the end of season 2, everyone's right. So it's
Mhm.
like it's just like it's a fascinating little like culture experiment almost to see like. And I was I think I DM'd Ashley and Stacey. I was watching a gay couple react to all the episodes, but and I should probably drop the names. Petty Pumpkins. I was watching them react, and they clocked something that like no straight viewer has clocked. And I'm like, exactly.
Exactly.
That's awesome.
And like they're like, I see something there. And I was like, precisely. And I know personally from watching far too many interviews and from reading the books that they are correct. So it's like, I'm like, exactly. The
That
gays
is
know what's up.
amazing.
They always know what's up.
Yeah.
Mhm.
That's so funny. Like the gay gays.
The gay gays. Yeah, exactly.
God.
That's awesome. I love it. Yeah, I don't know. I'm bisexual, so I don't know. Can I like switch back and forth like that? I don't know.
I'm sure you'll clock it. It'll be fine.
Maybe. We'll see.
Yeah. Exactly. You have different contact lenses.
Right. But yeah, no, it's funny because originally I was gonna say that I was like, these episodes were, I feel like not as like dramatic as the first
Mm.
two. But then I
Mhm.
like, really started thinking about it and I was like, no, they actually were. Like they had their moments, like yeah, like
We had the Lestat crash out.
yes,
The
and
most famous TikTok sound from season 1. I heard your hearts dancing.
seriously.
It's one of my favorite things from the whole show to this day.
To
that
this
whole
day.
Yeah.
scene. I'm like,
Yeah.
Yeah. And
I
clearly,
never skip
obviously,
a meme. Yeah,
the,
love it.
the introduction of Claudia, like that
Yeah.
whole like segment, which kind of pieced, 3 and 4, I mean, that was
Mhm.
very dramatic. And then Claudia literally killing a guy accidentally. I mean, so I was like, no, these episodes still were um quote
Yeah.
unquote dramatic. And I'm glad we watched them back to back. Like,
Yeah.
I feel like
Mhm.
you're right as far as like piecing these two together.
Yeah. It's
It's
such a tease to have gotten like my light, my Claudia at the end of
Mhm.
3 and then be like, who?
Yeah.
Who is this?
I think
We
that
gotta
was
wait.
actually a DM from Chanel. Who is Claudia?
Yeah,
I think
yeah.
Chanel, you're
And
cracking
then
me
I had to
up.
wait, watch
Yeah.
episode 4. But yeah, so we kind of ended 2 and go into 3, right? And he's like, questioning his Louis is, killing people,
Mhm.
and he ends up, which even we see in present day, of not, being a vegetarian vampire.
Yeah, right.
I love making Twilight references.
Always
Yeah.
Twilight references, always.
Anne's
Yeah.
right. He's only killing rats or like seafood, and he's really trying to stick to it. Okay, but here is my other thought is like, okay, all the events that happened, right? Like
Mhm.
the cheating, the
Hearts dancing.
yeah, yeah,
The
but I mean,
blowjob by the Bayou blowjob.
Yes. Oh my God.
I need a blowjob. But like the eventual, I would say it was almost kind of like a Louis crash out, but it was
Mhm.
brought on by Lestat, but also just
Hmm.
kind of like the societal segregation and pressure from his like whatever you want to call those boys, the other
Yeah.
townsmen. Um, that that circumstances of him eventually, killing that one dude, and then
Mhm.
um, yeah, like all the events leading to Claudia, right? I was gonna say like, oh, this was so terrible. Like these events had to happen, blah blah blah. But like, could it all possibly have just stemmed from? I'm going to be controversial. Could it have all stemmed from like Lestat not being a supportive,
More empathetic. Yeah.
yes, a more
Yeah.
supportive, empathetic lover, boyfriend, husband, right? Like, I mean,
Yeah.
right, because you could say like because he was emotionally, physically starving, right? Either
Yeah.
way, like he sought out love from the blowjob bayou. He also was he also was, you know, even though he did tell him, he was just like, oh, well, they're shutting down your business. You like whatever. He's like, oh, he like added that in, like, they're shutting down the
Yeah.
business. You can't do business here. You have to blah blah blah. But it was just like
Hmm.
on top of he was just like "Wah," crashing out. And he's like, oh my God, that guy. But it was like, I don't know, just like it was just this domino effect then that where
Yeah.
he like went after that, like what was his name? Kendrick or Henrik guy. Um,
Which
a big
the
fat balding
oh,
dude. Fenwick.
Fenwick,
That's what it
Alderman
is.
Fenwick.
Fenwick. Yeah, yeah.
Yes. He
I
went
was
after
like,
That
what you're
him.
guy.
saying is familiar, but I don't.
Yeah,
No,
I was
it's
like,
I
like,
all I
where
oh,
have
is
is
it?
Kendrick Lamar in my head now.
right, right.
Mhm.
I know, like what was his name? Um, but yeah, so then he went after him, which of course placing his body on that sign leads to the
Yeah.
town to riot. And it's just like I said, it was just this domino effect that like maybe if Lestat was a little more,
Yeah,
you know, just
exactly.
a little kinder, it maybe wouldn't have led to like such a big blowout. Anyway, okay, that was
Well, yeah.
I love that we're all like Lestat apologists in this
Yeah.
in these
Um,
four windows. So it's like I'm like, I agree, Chanel, but he
but
did nothing wrong. No,
yeah,
I'm joking.
literally,
That's what
I
I
was
was
gonna say,
thinking. I was like, yes, but no.
but
So
no.
okay, okay.
Well, and Chanel, you should know that a baby always fixes a relationship,
I
and
know.
that's
yeah,
what
yeah,
we
yeah,
do, Claudia.
We
Oh,
should baby
oh,
trap
wait,
more
wait. Can we
often.
quote? Can we quote Ashley's dude Malloy? He's like, was a baby a band-aid on a shitty marriage?
Marriage,
He
yeah,
just
yeah, yeah,
glossed
yeah.
over that,
Is he
right?
not the
It was so
best?
good. He's the voice of the audience. He truly is.
yes.
Yeah.
But the
Mhm.
funny thing is like they write him so well and Eric Bogosian acts him so well that that you don't feel like you're being spoon fed. Like
Mhm.
Yeah.
you're more like chatting with a friend being like, yes, I agree.
Yes.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Like you're like, that's exactly what I was thinking.
Mhm. That's so true. It's
Yeah.
so true because that is what you were thinking. You're like,
Yeah.
Claudia
I'm
is not
just
supposed to
like,
be in that
you're like,
marriage.
wow, they became parents. That's rough.
Yeah, that's rough.
On a toxic
Yeah.
relationship. But
Yeah.
the other thing that he pointed out that I thought was great was he was like, Louis, why is your story changing? Right? Like you
Hmm.
Mm.
said in the first interview that he was manipulative, abusive. It wasn't, all
Yeah.
sunshine and rainbows. And now you're painting him as your soulmate, and it was amazing,
Hmm.
and all of this
Yeah.
great things. And
God, I love the
Louis,
show so much. I know. And
Louis,
like, also like when he's clocking about the boots and stuff and it raining out in the
mhm,
bayou.
yeah,
The first time I watched it, I thought it was so interesting. And then the second time around, I seriously got chills watching it for some reason. I was like, this is so smartly done. It's so
hmm,
amazing.
Yeah.
yeah,
Mhm.
Well, it's
yeah,
just like Daniel is such a good reporter. He's
yeah,
such a good journalist because he is two steps ahead of Louis, and he's two steps ahead of the audience sometimes too.
Mhm.
You know, like I just love, yeah, I love episode 3 starts to open up that kind of, well, it's so interesting watching episode 3 and episode 4 back to back, because episode 3 opens up this idea of like, Louis, what I feel like you start to truly ask, why are we doing this interview again?
Mhm.
Do you think you were wrong on parts, or are
Mhm.
you, where is Lestat?
Blaming
Why
him.
yeah, like why were, it sounds like you hated him 50 years ago and blamed him for a lot of things. And now there's this gorgeous poetry about like the earth always felt liquid underneath me, and I was under his
Mhm.
thrall, and just this loving, very, very like dynamic love. But then the best thing is that you, like, Daniel asks the audience to question some of it, and then
Gotta go.
Ooh.
decline. No, it was my friend that I definitely do need to talk to, but gonna put on the focus because it, you know, it's like it went to the headphones, and
Mhm.
I could hear it cut out, and I was like, I'm getting a fucking phone call. So like you, like Daniel asks us to question his point of view and his what for, and then the very next episode we change POV. Like almost none of episode 4 was told in Louis's point of view,
Because he wasn't there.
Yes.
because it's all from Claudia's diaries,
Mhm.
you know. And like it's also interesting because they like they fully broke up at the end of episode 3.
Yes.
Like he jumped out a window and said, that's why you're always going to be alone. And like, and as we know from episode 2, that's what Lestat fears most of all, and Louis had been told that, and he used that against him in that moment to break up with him or just to hurt him. And then the very next time we see them, they're baby trapping each other, and like,
Mhm.
but then
Mhm.
also immediately after that they're like arguing about her pleated skirt. You know, it's like it's
Yeah.
The
chiffon, it has
chiffon.
movement. Yeah, and
I
like
loved
and it's
it.
just like they have these like these just two gay dads against the world, you know,
Yeah.
vibe.
Mhm.
And it's like, is that because everything did magically solve itself with a baby, or is that just how Claudia perceived the two of them as she was writing in her diary? And like
Mhm.
they are like in matching clothes, the Stotts in little sweater vests,
Watching
like
movies.
yeah,
Yeah.
things that they've never worn in the
Mhm.
Right.
entirety
Yeah.
of the show are
Right.
just like being introduced. The wardrobe is starting to shift. Um, and it's just such a fascinating. And at the end of episode 4, Louis wakes up and comes in after
Mhm.
Charlie has died and
Right.
after Lestat has forced her to burn him. And then Louis wakes up and says, where are you in the journals? And he says, Charlie's death. And so, like, we pick back up with Louis, but we're also like still with Claudia. Like, she's still narrating the end of the episode. So
Mhm.
it's like such an interesting. I love that it's the middle episode of 7 episodes. It's the Goblet of Fire of
Mhm.
of season 1, and they like hinged it on a POV shift. You know, it's like
Mhm.
her introduction is one thing, but also the storytelling device changes.
Which is
And
another
that,
thing that Daniel
yeah,
picked up on and was like, this wasn't in the recordings last time. You didn't talk
yeah,
about her last time. Why isn't she here? What's going on? And
yeah,
that again brings up where Louis was like, I was ashamed. I
yeah,
failed her, and
yeah,
almost was like trying to keep this aspect hidden, which I
yeah,
thought was interesting. And um, but like you said, it might also just be because she was like this unreliable narrator, right? Like she sees it
Mhm.
as like rainbows and sunshines, but that
yeah,
time actually wasn't that great, right?
yeah,
Mhm.
So yeah.
exactly. Or Louis has been glossing over a lot of the matching sweater sets and the
Yeah.
Mhm.
way that Lestat used to run his hands over his shoulders in the car, and you know, and just like things, like what has Louis been glossing over that is true, and what
Mhm.
has Claudia been perceiving that is false,
Mhm.
and yeah, I just love it.
Yeah.
I love it.
I think
Yeah.
these episodes 3 and 4, I think, do a really nice job. And it's not, like you said, it's not spoon feeding the audience, but like showing them that maybe we can't trust everything that Louis is
Mhm.
saying. Just like
Mhm.
and obviously I catch it more the second time around, but I'm like, oh yeah, like they just do a nice job with the diaries and like with the boots and stuff like that, subtly being like,
Yeah.
well, what's really going on here?
Mhm.
Yeah.
Okay,
It's
so I
yeah.
have a
What were you gonna
question.
say?
Then
Yeah.
what do you think if okay, so Lestat in episode 3 is like that this is the whole question of like, are we in an open relationship? And
Mhm.
that's
He
like,
chooses to open the relationship
yeah.
4 years in. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes. Without
Which we
ever,
all
yeah, talking
know
about it.
doesn't
Yeah.
work. Okay.
Yeah.
We could have told him that. We could
Yeah.
have told him that. Um, and it's almost like have any of you guys watched uh Arrested Development?
Yes.
Yes.
And when Tobias is like, I've had this conversation with so many clients and they all think that they can do it and it never works. He's like, but I think, he's saying to Lindsay, but I think you and I can have a relationship and it'll work. Anyway, it's just because he doesn't want to have sex with her, but okay.
Exactly. Oh,
um,
Tobias.
but I know he's amazing.
That
But
whole show is amazing too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
it is amazing. So he is like, yeah, like wants to open this relationship up because of this like singer. Well, I'm blanking out her name because I hate the women.
Well, I'm about to say, because you probably love her so much. I actually do hate this woman, so I agree
Yes.
with this one.
Antoinette.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Antoinette.
Yeah.
Antoinette.
Which,
Yeah.
for the record, there was a side piece in the books named Antoine. So
Oh.
they would just an
Gender swap.
interesting thing to discuss possibly, but keep going, Chanel.
Yes.
Yeah, that is interesting. Gender swap. But yeah, so then you obviously see him like sleep with her. And again, this is, Louis not eating enough, not sleeping, being stressed out. So he's already not in a good place. And then he's like, oh, and now my husband is,
Yeah.
cheating on me. If I'm sure that's how he sees it, right? But they
Yeah.
had established that they were open, right? And then I think you had sent this meme or however you want to call it, what observation, right? When his old buddy comes into town and is
Yes.
like, and he was just like talking about Lestat, saying that he's like a lot,
Yeah.
and he knows that he's like observing, can hear everything that him and his friend are talking about,
When they're
and
at the table. Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah. And like I before you had even sent that like observation or whatever, I was like, oh, he's like purposefully, intentionally like giving his attention to this guy who whether
Yeah.
like at this point, I don't even think you knew that they had had like a sexual relationship. You just knew that they were like friends or whatever. But I was
Yeah.
like, he's like trying to goad Lestat into being jealous
Yeah.
or whatever the heck. But then when well, your observation was that he
Yeah.
what
It's
was it?
like basically, so someone brought up, I think it was in a podcast, and again, I need to start writing down where I get my sources.
I read it.
I have a lot in my head, and a lot of it is not my
Yeah, you
not
just want
my
to take
IP.
credit. We know
Yeah,
that.
exactly. That they're sitting, so Jonah is the name of the soldier that he knew, and they're sitting at the table, and Louis looks up to see Lestat watching them. And that is when Louis says, "You ever think about those old times?"
Yeah.
And so it's like he doesn't bring up, hey, remember we used to fool around, until he knows Lestat's watching. But on this, someone brought up in a podcast that Lestat can't. Maybe he can overhear their conversation,
Mhm.
with from a distance, but he can't read Louis's mind to find out who Jonah is to him, but he can read Jonah's mind. And so Louis says, "You ever think about those old times?" and, and it's just, and I died. I was like, that's so like who knows? I don't want to say that that's exactly what Louis was doing, but like by doing that, Jonas says, "Yeah, let me think back to when we were teenagers and deliberately broadcast to Lestat what we did together when we were teenagers."
I love
it. Yeah.
That is,
it's petty.
Yeah.
It's so
He's
petty. I believe that that's exactly in my head. I'm like, that's what happened. That's what Louis was doing. Yeah.
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 I love the open relationship episode because it's just two men trying to make their partner jealous.
Literally.
And I live for this kind of toxic behavior. But something that's also just like so interesting is Louis straight up says that his libido wasn't what it used to be. So he's without drinking human blood, he's not been having a lot of sex with Lestat. So Lestat starts fooling around with someone else, but he also deliberately chooses a white woman who can go on dates with Lestat and be seen in public with him. And of course they can kiss and fondle each other at the Azalea, and it's just like, and it's just like, he's so much worse for like, just so interesting of them to play with the issue of race that they brought into the show purposefully, and and how they want to unpack that. And it's just hilarious. I think now that I've like rewatched the show so many times, I truly think Lestat, because he says many times that he doesn't have feelings for Antoinette, but that he like, I think he keeps her around for attention, and he keeps her around because she probably gives him the things that Louis doesn't give him. But I also think he just wanted to see if Louis would kill her.
Right? Yeah, would get mad enough to kill her.
Because then he would be one, killing a human and drinking human blood, which is what Lestat wants him to do, and two, proving how much he loves Lestat and how he will not stand for this. And like, I just truly think Lestat's like, maybe I can get him to kill her.
Yeah,
I'm sure that that crossed his mind, definitely.
Yeah. There is a great fanfic with that premise.
I love the idea that that's why he did it. I hadn't thought about that before, but now I'm just like, of course he'd be that calculated. Like that makes a lot of sense.
And like, even if it doesn't work, then he's like, I'm gonna keep her around because she worships me, and Louis stopped worshiping me. Lestat needs to be loved in a very specific kind of way, and every viewer would give that to him.
I would.
And we all just can't believe Louis can't just
except
come on, Louis.
I know. Oh my god.
Except for Chanel. I knew she'd be a voice of reason. Like, what the fuck is happening?
Like, what is this open relationship? Yeah.
I love them both. So but yeah. I'm also
there's also, what were you gonna say?
No, I was just gonna say, what is this relationship?
I know.
True
that
love.
Scene, it's true love, Chanel. That scene where they're in the courtyard and they talk about opening the relationship, which has one of my favorite deliveries of anything in the world, which is Lestat saying "of course" 4 times.
Oh, of course.
Of course. Of course.
Yeah, which means he's not chill about that.
Yeah, exactly. It's so good.
It's like when I say I'm fine to my boyfriend, I'm like, I'm fine.
Exactly. I'm totally fine. My goodness, I got caught in something and I can't get out of it. So of course.
Of course.
But one of my favorite things, I didn't fully understand this until I was like looking through fandom and like reading the books, is the moment that Louis actually like takes a deep breath and says to him, "Aren't I enough?" And Lestat just starts like cracking up laughing.
I know.
And it's like so painful. You're just like, oh, that was probably the moment where like they'll never have honest conversations if Louis doesn't feel like he can. But something that is in the books that I just think is interesting is that Lestat is known to laugh. Like he has this crazed laugh that comes out of him when he's happy, when he's like not when he's being vicious. Like and it's this, I think that was the first time Louis started to, he basically said like, I'd like to be enough for you, is what he was, you know, like Lestat heard it as like he is jealous. Thank God. He
Yeah,
Thank
yeah,
loves
yeah.
God.
me.
Yeah, but I don't think anyone wants to be like, am I enough for you? And then have
And
someone
then
laugh in their
laugh.
face. Like, I don't
Exactly.
think that is.
It's absolutely Louis is right to feel any kind of way he wants about that. But it was interesting to be like, oh, this was not vicious from Lestat. This is
Yeah.
like pure joy. Louis just admitted he was jealous and and wants Lestat to himself, which is all Lestat wants from Louis, you know. And so it's just like, just talk to each other, you dumbasses.
Serious.
Just love each other.
Okay, can we talk about Claudia?
Yeah.
Yeah, we do need to talk about Claudia because I don't understand what's going on with you right now.
Wait, why do you love her so much? I don't understand.
I
Go
have
ahead.
actually, I have similar Claudia thoughts, but from a more pulled back, I've seen the whole series point of view.
Yeah.
So like Chanel, whatever you're saying is something I was with you for when I was watching
Well, okay,
episode
so
4.
did you, how did you feel about her when you started? Like when you were in my place?
Yeah.
Now that
Well,
you have
for me,
perspective, you don't like her, but like, did you like her initially?
I am always going to be for for Lestat and Louis, and she just seemed like she was about to like come between them a little bit and create some distractions from their love affair. So I could have done without her.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you.
Children do that.
Children do that. Oh man.
They do.
They
That
do.
is
They're little
the
worms worming between
childless
people.
cat lady over here. Yeah, exactly. Okay,
Yeah.
so Chanel, tell us how much we hate Claudia.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I think that's a good place to start. Like you said, it just seemed like yeah, okay, whatever. They're like singing and watching movies and whatever, like happy little family. But I think it is kind of like a band-aid on this
Yeah.
obviously larger issue where it's like you need to address your relationship and, focus on each other and talk, blah, blah, blah. So I was just like, why are you bringing in this bitch when we don't need her? Like it should be the two of you forever.
You don't need a baby, you need a therapist. Yeah.
No joke. Yeah.
And I also is like, I kind of agree with Lestat. Like, okay, we're gonna bring in a teenager, like not
Oh
even
God.
like a fully matured adult, right? Like she very
Yeah.
much was, even after she had years, they were with her for whatever, like 5 years or something, she still was acting like a teenager, right? Like
Yeah.
very immature, very sloppy, because you see
Yeah.
kind of Louis has matured in his vampirism almost
Yeah.
after what it's been a few years, but she was still very much immature, and I'm assuming that's because of her age, where she can't even control her bloodlust, and that obviously has consequences for everyone, and just with her personality or her maturity and stuff. So I'm just like, ugh, it's just bringing a bad vibe to the house.
She's a bad vibe.
It's a bad vibe.
Bye.
So yeah, I was just over her anyway. So yeah, those are my thoughts. Yes, don't like her. Don't like her. Want her out of here.
Yeah, she's a lot. She is, and I do love what we get of the three of them when they're like just playing a happy little family in this episode.
Yeah.
And like
Yeah.
it's a complete different side of like of each of them in a way when they have her around too. So but yes, Stacy and Ashley, why do we love Claudia? What's your counterpoint?
Give us something.
Do you want to go first, Stace?
Yeah. Well, I mean, I
I liked Claude. I think the thing we have to step back, and when I saw it, I was just like, okay, she's supposed to be 14. So 14-year-olds are kind of annoying anyway. But because they are. But
Mhm.
like I said, I like the happy little family thing. Like I liked it from her perspective and her general. I kind of feel like I have a better view of her because I've seen the whole show and everything. She was it was kind of annoying when I first met her the first time I watched in the first few episodes
Mhm.
because she is like this annoying, like crushing girl on people, like like a 14-year-old having a crush on someone. But it's really cool that when you go back and watch it a few like after the first time, just to like see her experience like having a crush on a boy and all this stuff, and then realizing how terrible her like to learn that your parents to one be a band-aid and realize that their marriage is fucked, but then on top of it realize that not only did that, they chose to make her something where she's gonna have to live her life as a 14-year-old forever. Can you
Mhm.
imagine? Like
Yeah.
just
Yeah.
terrible.
That was
So I
kind of
feel
at the
this
end of episode
uh
4 where she's like, I'm stuck in this, what did she
hmm
say? Sexless body. Did she say that?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean,
hmm
that is terrible. And from her perspective
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah.
I
So I
get
think
that.
I just had like I feel like now looking back and like seeing it, and then like when you said when she's like I'm gonna be stuck like this forever, who's gonna love me, they have each other kind of thing, which is also
Mhm.
one of my favorite lines too, when Lestat's like I prefer a fuller figure or whatever. Like I love that
That
part.
might be
But
episode 5.
oh sorry.
I was
It's
like,
okay.
oh,
I was
damn.
thinking
I
about
didn't
it
see
too.
that.
I
I was
was like,
thinking about that
oh,
too, and I was like, I was gonna say something, and I was like, wait, is
okay,
that episode 5? Yeah.
never mind. No, you'll get to it. But
She
it's
has
because
similar crash outs in multiple episodes,
yes,
so we do get
Yay.
lost.
in her
Yay. They
they're
run
and
together.
always that about the I mean in general it's all about obviously like her being trapped in a 14-year-old's body and like can't live her
Yeah.
life. Yeah.
Yeah. Well,
See,
and
my
there's
mistake is I
also
just keep watching all the episodes. I don't
exactly,
pause. I
just
just
keep
keep
going.
going.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's also like just like such an interesting, and it gets brought up later, so we'll talk about it later, but just like they Lestat gave Louis a choice to become a vampire. Like,
Yes.
and
Hmm.
it was like you just have to say yes. You just have to nod your beautiful head and say yes. And like there's discourse of like if Louis had said no, what was gonna happen?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like would he have killed him? Would he have turned him anyway? Would he have actually left and like followed him around for years until until he wore him down?
Yeah.
Like what?
Stalker.
And there's a good fic for that too, where Louis says no, but then like still agrees to like go home with Lestat and like and so they like start living together.
Okay,
Like
that's interesting because he doesn't like mortals. So you think he
yeah,
would have stuck around? Like that's how much he loved Louis, is like he
yeah.
would have stuck around and integrated with a human. That's
I
interesting.
mean, that's the thing. That's like, and that's why I think when we hear more from Lestat about his, because and I don't know if we mentioned this on this podcast yet, but again, we say the first 3 episodes are from Louis's point of view. The fourth episode is from Claudia's point of view in many ways, and we get some other point of views down the road, but like do we hear from Lestat about these types of things? And like, I think there's just got to be so much that Louis glosses over in episode
Mhm.
1, where he's like, I was being hunted and I had no idea it was happening. And it was like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
it was like totally, but like you were going to like opera dates. You were
Yeah.
like you were 100% dating. You were sitting in the park at all hours of the night, chatting with each other. Like they were talking. They were like Louis was helping him buy furniture for his new place and buy his
Yes.
clothes, and
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 he
it's just like
funded the hotel thing or whatever.
exactly. And
Mhm.
yeah, and it's like there's so much like there's so much that you're just like, I mean, Lestat, like he got his little drink. He got his one night stand with him, and he still was like, come to me, Louis.
Come to me.
Like he got what one could say he wanted. And he still was like not gonna allow Louis to kill himself when Louis was like screaming at the priest, I want to die.
Mhm.
Mhm.
So uh So anyways, I don't know how we got here, but
I know. We're supposed to be talking about Claudia.
but yeah, when it
So
comes
you okay, so
to
yeah, you think it's more than just them being vampires together. Like you think they actually like each other on a human
I
personality
think
level. Yeah.
so, and that's
Mhm.
also the interesting thing is Louis is always very quick to claim that there's some kind of vampire bond
Mhm.
between the maker
Mhm.
and his
Mhm.
fledgling.
Mhm.
And like I believe there is, but he's very quick to blame a lot
Yes. And
on
that's what I
it.
was saying is like I think
Mhm.
I would love to read that fic, but I think
Yeah.
that's very interesting that like you and clearly some fan fiction writer see past that and are like, no,
Yeah.
you guys
Mhm.
are in love. You have
Yeah.
feelings for each other. And I think there is too as well. But yeah, I think you're right. It's more than that. I think that probably deepens it. But yeah, anyway.
Yeah. I
Um
think they were friends first, like Lestat was looking for someone to become his companion for eternity, and like he chose Louis.
Mhm.
Like they became friends and they courted, and Louis brought him home to meet his family.
mhm,
Mhm.
There was a family
Exactly.
dinner.
mhm. That is
Um,
true.
Yeah.
And I
like
think he
there's
also
like,
like
yeah,
admired him, right? Like his
yeah.
business savvy, right? Like he was like,
Hmm.
these guys are like chumps, right? Like
Yeah.
you're better than them. I think
Yeah.
yeah, I was like, what are you doing here? Like you,
Yeah.
and so
Um,
yeah, you're right that
yeah.
it goes way deeper than
Yeah.
just being.
This is goes back to episode 1, but someone did a deep dive to see, okay, based on the types of coats and clothing that they're wearing in episode 1, we know that it's winter.
Oh my
Based
God.
on, yeah, and then
Yeah.
they say something like, and based on Grace, Sister Grace says, invite over this French white. I want to meet him,
Mhm.
And then as soon as they leave dinner, they walk home and Lestat says, I got you a gift, and it's Lily on the balcony, and then they have their little not a threesome. And someone says, but you can see in the sky that it's a full moon. So I looked up full moons during winter, 1910,
Oh
1910,
my God.
and it was February 13th that they did family dinner. So it was
Yeah.
Valentine's Day.
Stop. It's
It
a
I'm here for
base.
it.
was Valentine's Day. And like, who knows? You just put a full moon in a sky and TV show
No.
because it looks better.
But
But
that's
Yeah.
like,
funny.
like you track it back and you're just like, okay, so like they invited him over around Valentine's Day,
Mhm.
and then Louis went home with him, and after midnight they fought.
I choose to believe that was all intentional.
Yes.
Honestly, and
Yes.
then maybe they tried to break it off, but Lestat was like, well, I'm your Valentine now. So
I'm your Valentine.
Forever.
Yeah. It's like Kelly and Ryan on The
Kelly, yeah,
Office. Like, I
like
slept
Kelly
with her on
Wow.
February 13th.
Kelly could afford her.
He's just so
Oh,
stressed out.
yeah. And he's like, got his hair pulling out. Yeah. It's so good.
That's
Um,
hilarious. Ashley, I want to know why you like Claudia.
okay.
So, there's like a couple different reasons. One, I love the character Claudia back from like the movie,
Mm.
with, and it's a
What is
much
that?
young,
Kristen Dunst?
yes,
Mm-hmm.
and it's a
Mhm.
much younger Claudia. I
Yeah.
think it's the same in the book, right? I think she's younger in the book than in this TV
She's
show.
5 in the book, which is terrifying.
I can't even imagine
Um,
how annoying a 5-year-old vampire would be because my
well,
3-year-old is
and
so
terrifying.
annoying.
Like I think it's like
Yes.
that, like Stephen King school of things where it's like there's a
Mhm.
blonde doll staring at you and it can
Yeah.
move.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then I think they aged her up to 8 or 9 in the movies, but Kirsten was 11 playing 9. So it's like that.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So
Dang.
I just thought that character was interesting back from the movie. And then I loved this character even more, aging her up just even a little bit
Mhm.
more because, yes, that age is so annoying. But I just remember
Yeah.
back and how awkward I was during these times. I'm like, can you imagine being trapped in this like psyche, like mentality basically kind of forever? And I just love that she's like a little ball of chaos And I don't
Chanel
I
shaking
don't
her head.
there's just there's
Terrible.
so many levels to her, and I
Is
love the
there? Is
yes
there? No,
yes
it's just
yeah
one.
no
No, but
What's the level,
I
Chanel?
agree with Chanel where she is in episode 4,
yeah
where you're just like,
yeah
okay, maybe we cut her loose.
but
You know?
even like, so, and again, this is me watching the second time, even in episode 4 where she's having her own little spiral after she kills Charlie.
Mhm.
And she's like, in the diary, she's saying that she's fine, and she's like ranting about how she's gonna be fine. And then in that moment, she's like burning herself in the sun. And it's just
Mhm.
like, I think it's just so well done with this character that obviously she is not fine, but
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
just like, she's so interesting to me. But I don't know. I think I liked her from the beginning though, because I remember telling Stacy that I liked the show the first time I watched it, the first couple episodes, but I didn't get really invested into it until Claudia was in it.
Yeah.
So
I
Yeah.
agree that she's an interesting character and like she adds drama and entertainment. Like I definitely agree with that. So I understand why like you said you're like more invested now, but I did we need more drama? Did we need more toxicity? We had it just with the two of them. Because
Yeah.
another thing that was crazy was Louis's mom dies, right?
Oh,
Yeah.
That
yes.
causes, which again, don't like the mom. I
Yeah.
Yeah.
liked the sister, but she turned real evil real quick.
Yeah.
And
Because maybe Louis ate the baby.
Exactly.
Baby.
You'd be mad if someone ate your baby, Chanel. I'm telling
You'd be
you.
so
I'm
mad. What
not
if
having
Louis
a
ate the
baby.
baby?
What about
I'm
What if
not having a
someone?
Mia?
baby. And the
What if
reason
he ate
why is because
Mia?
it could turn out like Claudia.
Yeah. What if he ate Mia? What would you do? What if he ate your cat?
Oh,
Yeah, I would kill him. But but yeah, I'm like, so more toxic women, terrible women, and
mm,
it doesn't help when they bring Claudia to the funeral, which why would you do that anyway?
yeah.
But yeah, that was just a awful scene of he's already distanced from his family and now it's just like a chasm, you know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Isn't
Of
that wasn't that fascinating though? He like brings his whole new family to the funeral. Like
Yes.
what a statement too. Like
Yeah.
yes, he's had his business partner over for dinner before and like,
Mhm.
you know, he drops by the house party in episode 2 and
Mhm.
mom insults him and he insults her and it was great.
Mhm.
But like I'm gonna bring my entire family to
Yeah.
this funeral and make and like it's such a statement and it's just that I always wonder like what the idea was it like was Lestat like I'd like to be there for you if this is going to be hard for you and then maybe one of them was like Claudia could maybe use some socialization
Right.
Mhm.
like or
Ugh.
was Louis like, no, I want you there. I want you both there because I know it would piss off my mother, like,
Right.
Right, right.
yeah.
A
Well,
little of both.
and the way he like introduces Claudia too, that
I
like, this
know.
is your Aunt Grace or whatever. It's just like wild that this is
And
the
Yeah.
first
Grace is like,
time.
yeah. She's like, who's this 14-year-old child that you suddenly have
Yeah.
with this man?
Yeah, it was
It's
just
like you did not have this child the last time I saw you, and it was not 14 years ago.
Yeah.
I know, right? I know. Just
Yeah.
wild, wild. But
Yeah.
but yeah. Yeah. I am loving it so far and
Yeah.
I can't wait to watch 5. You want me to do
Yeah.
5 and 6 and 7 all together?
I feel like we could do all 3 episodes in the next one because next season 2 is a little easier to do. 1 and 2, 3 and 4 definitely go together. 5 and 6 do not, but that's okay. And then 7, it's all
Well,
sorts of stuff.
season 2, we can do some like one episode episodes, okay?
Some of
Like, I
them,
mean,
some of them we might actually need to.
yes.
Too.
Can-
Like, we're
Yes.
not lumping all of these together because
I
I got
know.
some thoughts.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
But you think I could do 5, 6, 7?
I think so.
Mhm.
Unless we do 7 and do a whole retrospective on season 1, but it's like
Yeah.
would be so much of like the 3 of us holding back,
I know.
not being
I
able to
know.
say what we know about
Season
season
2.
1. you know,
Mhm.
and like sees what we know about season 2 and how it affects season 1. But yeah, I think you should do
Okay.
5, 6, 7.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, I'm really liking it so far, and I'm glad you forced me to watch it.
Yes. See, I told you guys we would get justice.
We would
Yeah.
get justice.
Well, it's only your obsession will only grow. I feel like
Yeah.
that's how it
Yeah.
was for me. Like I liked it, and then I was just like frantic over it. So
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah. No, I
Yeah.
definitely like it. And
Yeah.
honestly, I'm like, because we have to keep recording, I'm like, I just want to keep watching. Like, I'm
I
definitely
know.
a binge watcher, so I'm like,
Mhm.
but I also didn't want to like confuse episodes, so I'm glad I like
Yeah.
But,
Mhm.
but yeah. Thanks for recording
So
with
good.
us.
Yeah,
Thanks
making
Oh my gosh.
for
time.
listening.
Oh my gosh, absolutely. We will chat about when the next one will be.
Yes, I know. We'll come back.
Mhm.
Come back for more content.
Yeah.
So, yay.
I'm so excited.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Thanks for being here, friends.
Yeah,
Yeah.
thanks. Okay.